Welcome to the Explainer. Today we are taking a really fascinating journey back in time, but we're doing it with a completely fresh set of eyes. We're going to do a deep dive into those beloved childhood poems and songs that, honestly, secretly built our foundational knowledge. If you grew up in a South Asian household, you already know these rhymes are practically encoded right into your DNA. But here's the thing, they weren't just catchy tunes meant to keep us occupied while our parents were busy. As we're going to see today, they were actually a highly sophisticated hidden architecture. They were literally designed to teach us everything from physics and commerce, all the way to morality and even portion control. It's like a giant puzzle hiding in plain sight.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to break down these nostalgic rhymes into 4 distinct pillars of early childhood education: the animal kingdom, foundations of language and sound, life skills and problem solving, and finally, cultural and spiritual integration.
Starting right off with our first pillar, the animal kingdom, focusing on nature and action. I want you to recall for a second how animals were really our absolute earliest teachers. Long before we could even begin to understand complex human society, we were learning exactly how the world works through these fun avatars, like the Elephant King. Where's the Elephant King going? Or Hathi Raja Kanchale. Just hearing that instantly brings a smile to your face, right? But think about the imagery going on there. The elephant isn't just an animal. He's a Raja, a literal king. He swings his trunk, he's invited into a home to sit on a chair, and he's offered halwa puri, which is this rich, traditional feast. We were picking up on concepts of respect, hospitality, and royalty, and it was all wrapped up in this friendly, giant animal. And this illustrates brilliantly how this method worked across the board. These incredibly complex concepts were mapped directly onto animal avatars just to make them super easy to memorize. The green parrot wasn't just a bird, right? He was an artist, a mimic, eating his fruits and vegetables. The elephant taught us about hospitality. And the monkey, in Bandar Nikoli Dukan, the monkey literally opens a ration shop. Think about that for a second. Toddlers were learning about commerce, supply and demand, and dealing with customers, like a well-dressed cat and a hopping frog, all through a monkey selling groceries. And then, of course, there's the fish, the undisputed queen of water. Which brings us to this incredibly famous quote: "The fish is the queen of water, her life is water, take her out and she will die," or Machli Jel Kirani Hai. It has such a bouncy, fun tune, but when you really look at it, it's a stark, highly memorable lesson in literal life-or-death biology. It taught us environmental dependency. It's planting the idea that creatures belong to specific habitats, and violating that habitat has fatal consequences. And we were learning all of this before we were even old enough to set foot in a classroom. Moving right along to our second section, foundations of language and sound. So, well before we could actually read letters on a page, we needed to train our young ears to recognize syllables, rhythms, and phonetic patterns. And the ultimate tool of choice here? Onomatopoeia, words that imitate sounds. Chuck, chuck, chuck. You can immediately hear that rhythm, can't you? The rhyme about the train doesn't just lazily describe a train, it basically forces the child to mimic the mechanical, rhythmic chugging of the engine. It's a direct association. The sound physically links to the concept of transportation, and it's teaching kids how to articulate those sharp, crisp consonants. And then, of course, we have the rain. Chum, chum, chum. That classic rhyme about the rain coming down, whipping our umbrella out, and then hilariously slipping and falling in a puddle. That chum sound perfectly mimics the heavy, splashing droplets of a massive monsoon downpour. It keeps the energy totally high while teaching kids how to form softer, more continuous consonant sounds.
Finally, we get the rapid, sharp sounds of the horse's trot. Tick, tick, tick. As the horse shakes its tail and takes the rider for a spin, the child is just rapidly firing off tick, 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 tick. These repetitive sound effects are essentially a vocal gym for a toddler. They build up crucial phonetic awareness, literally training the muscles of the mouth to form rapid, distinct syllables that are totally foundational for speaking any language clearly.
Now, what's really interesting is how these phonetic lessons seamlessly scaled up into reading. When we were taught the alphabet vowels like A, A, E, U, it all started with basic, literal association. A is for pomegranate. A is for mango. Pretty standard stuff. But as the alphabet progresses, it effortlessly transitions from simple vocabulary into advanced moral philosophy. Suddenly, E isn't just a random object. It's a reminder to learn good things. And incredibly, the final vowel, A, is paired with the lesson, only eat what fits your plate. They literally snuck portion control and anti-greed philosophy right into the alphabet. No way, right?
All right, that brings us to section 3, life skills and problem solving.
You know, these rhymes were quietly acting as everyday survival guides. They taught us how to navigate the physical world safely, logically, and efficiently. Take the classic story of the thirsty crow, or Ek Kowa Pyasata. This isn't just a cute story about a bird getting a drink. It functions as a literal step-by-step masterclass in critical thinking and physics. The crow identifies a problem. He has low water. He surveys his environment and finds a tool, pebbles. He then applies effort to create water displacement, which, by the way, is Archimedes' principle, until the water rises, and boom, he solves his problem. It's teaching children resourcefulness, patience, and basic physics, all in 4 super easy lines.
And it wasn't just abstract problem solving either. It was highly practical daily management. The poem Rose Sévère translates into an explicit, highly structured self-improvement checklist. Wake up early, do your chores, study on time, don't fight, wash your hands before you eat, go to sleep on time. It was an entire behavioral modification program set to a really catchy rhythm. It instilled in children that a good, productive life is fundamentally built on a foundation of routine and hygiene. They even managed to connect these behavioral lessons to nutrition. Take the lal tomato rhyme. It essentially functioned as a brilliant, targeted marketing campaign for a single vegetable. It sold kids on the health benefits of the red tomato, promising them that eating it would increase their blood, make them super energetic, keep them healthy, and even give them rosy red cheeks. Because honestly, what better way to get a stubborn toddler to eat their vegetables than to sing them an upbeat song about how incredibly powerful it's going to make them?
Let's move into our final pillar, section 4, cultural and spiritual integration.
The creators of these rhymes deeply understood that a child's education just isn't complete without a strong sense of community, culture, and a connection to something much larger than themselves. Take the Kalu Madari poem, for instance. A Madari is a traditional street performer, and this poem vividly documents this type of communal entertainment. When the Madari arrives with his dancing black bear and plays his dum-dum drum, the poem actually lists out all the neighborhood kids running out to see it. Nita came, Raju came, Pooja came, Harsh came. It documented a shared cultural joy. It was teaching kids about community gatherings and the simple, pure magic of coming together with your neighbors out in the street to just share an experience.
And that integration goes way beyond just the local community and taps right into the spiritual. So the really crucial point here is how beautifully and seamlessly spiritual devotion is woven into the natural actions of the world. In the sources we analyzed, there's this absolutely beautiful rhyme where a sparrow chirps Allahu naturally, just as its everyday song. And similarly, the honeybee goes from flower to flower making honey, while simultaneously reading the name of Prophet Muhammad. It's never a heavy-handed theological lecture. Instead, it presents spirituality as a gentle, perfectly natural part of the ecosystem, existing right alongside the bees making honey and the birds singing in the trees. Which really leaves us with this final thought. Today, we've uncovered physics, portion control, commerce, and profound cultural integration, and it was all hiding right there in plain sight, in the little tunes we hummed as toddlers. These rhymes truly were the invisible architects of our minds. So, what other hidden lessons did your childhood rhymes teach you without you even realizing it? I really encourage you to revisit your own nostalgia, but this time with a newly analytical mind. The next time you hear one of these classic tunes, listen closely, because you might just learn something brand new. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.